So when scouring the internet for noiseless neck tele pickups, I came across, again, like I did for bridges, in a kind of a forum war, or forum debate rather, between the Dimarzio Area Ts and the Seymour Duncan Vintage Stack. So there were also Kinmans and fenders and lace sensors up for debate. However, it seemed like the main two players were the Dimarzios and the Seymour Duncans. So my opinions between the Area T and Vintage Stack neck aren't that much different than the Area T and Vintage Stack bridge. The Area Ts will react a little bit more dynamically and a little bit more like a single coil. The Seymour Duncan will react a little bit more compressed, a little bit more like a humbucker, until you split it, and then it will sound a little bit more like a single coil, or it'll actually be a single coil. So, you know, just disclaimer, it'll be Seymour Duncan noiseless, Area T, Seymour Duncan split. And that goes for the bridge and that goes for the neck. I would also say this time around that the Seymour Duncan neck has quite a bit more bass. Even online, the EQ has a pretty scooped EQ in comparison to the Area T. What that means for you, like if you happen to be someone who uses a fractal, it almost means nothing because you can kind of just pick an amp that suits that pickup. If you happen to have one amp that you use, take that into consideration. Recently I had a recording one day and a gig the next with the same band, and at the recording studio they had a twin, and I was using the Seymour Duncan in the neck, and with like this Overdrive, the GTO J-Rocket Overdrive, that on, just for a little zhuzh, a little flavor, the Seymour Duncan neck and that twin were a match made in heaven. The next day, the exact same pairing, but with a Hot Rod Deluxe, so a much bassier amp, and in like a smaller enclosure on stage where it was probably not super bass heavy friendly. I ended up setting my bass at 3 and mids and treble at like 7.5 to get still like a bassier sound than I had the day before. So if you happen to have either of those amps even, you know, could I have EQ'd my way, you know, out of that? Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I was kind of on the fly for both scenarios. So it's just one of those things where it's something to take into consideration. If you have a super bass heavy amp, maybe the Area Ts are for you. If you don't have a super bass heavy amp, maybe, you know, a little bass heavier pickup will actually kind of help round things out. Again, though, if you happen to use a fractal or something like me, you could really not go wrong with either of these. You just want it to blend well with your bridge pickup at that point. You kind of want them both to speak together. And even then, the guitar I have with 2 Seymour Duncans in it works great. The guitar I have with 2 Dimarzios in it works great. The guitar I have with a Seymour Duncan and a Dimarzio in it works great. They're just like, they have different strengths and they just have different strengths. It's not even apples to oranges, it's like apples to other kinds of apples in all 3 scenarios. I should also mention that when I was playing through a twin with the Dimarzios, the bridge, at least this is a hotter bridge, it's not the vintage Dimarzio Area T, it's the 615, so the middle heat. This one was a bit ice picky for me, or a bit like popped out quite a bit. With a compressor I think it would have been fine through a twin, but the Seymour Duncans just worked fine. Now again, if I was playing through a Hot Rod Deluxe, would these have just been fine? Yeah, probably. So it's just another one of those, you know, you really can't go wrong. If you happen to be in the EU like I am at the making of this video, and Seymour Duncans are a lot more expensive for whatever reason than Dimarzios, probably just go Dimarzios. If for whatever reason Seymour Duncans are cheaper, just buy the, like, whatever availability you have, you really can't go wrong. And you're one little EQ adjustment away from anything working. In any case, listen for yourself. Today for cleans I'll be using a super reverb, and then after that I'll be using a deluxe with a overdrive in front of it to kind of give a interesting EQ. And then after that we'll do a little bit of kind of dirt sounds, little gritty sounds. All right, let's take a listen. My opinions still stand that it's not like a world of difference between the two. It's not like a wide range humbucker and like a Strat neck pickup or something like that. They're just different flavors of the same apple or orange or banana or another fruit. If you happen to be like me and a bit of a Tele fanatic at the moment, it is a little fun to have different flavors of Tele available to you. So what did you think of the differences between the two? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and time to go play some more.